Hi everyone, if you're watching a recording, please fast forward 2 minutes. We're just making sure everything's working, unlike last week when we were making sure and it wasn't working. So we're ahead a little bit today. Okay, let's test this. Oh, yep, that's working. Yeah, I'll put that up. Okay. Let's take a look. It shows that YouTube is connected, Twitch is trying to, and QTalk Live seems to be connected. So, anybody out there, give us a shout out. Let us know if you can see us. North Carolina's out there. I can't see a name, so whoever's in North Carolina, are you looking at the Q Farm Gray Facebook or QTalk Facebook? On Twitch? Okay, I'll take a look at it. Okay. Apparently there's a spammer out there on Facebook, so Andy's trying to deal with it. Okay, so looks like Facebook, my my Q Farm Gray Facebook is working. Okie dokie. So how's Twitch? Is anybody out there on Twitch? I have a chat window up, and Andy's talking to me. So someone commented, I think it's Laura from New York, but again, I don't have names out here. It says on Facebook. Okay, so maybe Q Farm Gray is not working today, which is not necessarily the worst thing. Okay. YouTube should be connected. Is anybody on Twitch out there? It says connected to Twitch. So Twitch should be running. All right, let me toggle it on and off. Okay, toggled on and off. All right, guys, I'm going to start here in just a minute. It looks like Twitch is sort of having a problem seeing if we can go ahead and fix that here. Hello, Maryland. QTalk is up. Can anybody see it on the Q Farm Gray site on Facebook? Andy says he can't see it. So we're trying something new today. We've got the puppy down here. The door's open. Let's see if we can last an hour without him screaming for his mommy. We'll see. How's it going, honey? Still no Twitch. Don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I don't know. Maybe something's up with Twitch. Actually, give me a second here. Let me log on. Ooh. Technical difficulties. Okay.
Since you can't be live.
So looks like we're struggling today for some reason, but QTalk is up and running. So should we just keep going, honey? Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and keep on going here because QTalk and YouTube is up. So hi everyone, thanks for your patience. Thanks for hanging out here. So let's get started. Today is Monday, October 11th. My goodness, can you believe that Virtual Labor Crafting is going to happen here in about 10 days. I know. I looked at the calendar, was like, what happened? I was thinking that I still had another 3 weeks. Anyway, well, a lot of instructors have started shipping out as of last week, and so we're excited about that. We have shipped out almost all of our kits. I'm a little behind here. A couple things didn't arrive, so we're still trying to get that up and running. So this being Monday, we started a new series last week called Start from Scrap. So great way to start the week, right, is starting from scrap. So it was out of a conversation of what do we do with all the scrap that we have? And this is my big pile of scrap. And what's sort of interesting is, despite the fact that this is a big pile of scrap, it's not like that much. It's sort of crazy, because when silver had gone up to about $29 last year, I went and dumped all of it. So this is what I have accumulated since that time, which is sort of crazy too, because it's a lot in a very short amount of time. And so anyway, so I was processing through what all I had in here and what can I do with it, and I thought I came up with a concept. And last week, as you know, we did this out of our sheet metal scrap, making little discs, soldering them together to make a ring band. Well, looks like we're going to do another ring band today out of our oh God, I can't think. Oh my gosh, our wire scrap. Because as I was looking through, I had all these little tiny pieces of wire. I'm like, I don't know, can we solder them all together and make this work? I think we can. And it just occurred to me, what'd I do? I left my solder in the other room. Hold on a second, let me go grab it. Okay, let's get that another try. Okay, so now I have solder. Woohoo. So I was thinking, what if we take all the little pieces of solder together and see if we can make little pieces of wire and see if we can make a ring shank out of it. So instead of boring everybody and sitting here and picking through all of my scrap, I went ahead and did that. So I grabbed a whole bunch of scrap here. We'll just go ahead and put this away. And, last week, if you had joined in, I had pointed out that, yeah, I have several piles of scrap, one of which is better scrap, and another which is like that one, which is really, what can I do with it? Not much. So I did go into some of the better scrap and was able to find a bunch of pieces of wire that I think are usable. So what I'm thinking that might be cool is that we would sit here and solder all of these pieces together to create a ring shank. I don't know. It could work. Now, if you're just tuning in, I need you to give me a little bit of room here for making a mistake, because this is just really fluid. I don't know what's going to happen. It's all an experiment, and it's all an attempt to use what we have, right, instead of putting it to waste. Because I know a lot of you have this kind of scrap, and you should, if you're not saving it, you should be saving all this anyway, so that at some point you can turn it in, or that you can use it for casting. It shouldn't go to waste. It shouldn't go in the trash, right? Okay, so I've gathered all these pieces, and when you have these cut pieces of wire, let's go in really tight here. You have like a beveled edge. You see that? So I did take the time out to blunt cut all of these wires like so, just to have a nice edge. You could, if you want, to take the time to file it. I did not. It was just too much. Too many little pieces. And then if you have pieces like this where it's bent, we can go ahead and unbend that and straighten it out, especially for what I'm attempting to do. So we'll take out our chain nose pliers, and for me this is the easiest way to do it, is to put it in and just squeeze it back out straight like that. You see? Just like so. And another thing you can do too to get this nice and straight is to put it between two bench blocks like so, and see if you can get to straighten out. See? Look how much better that is. Nice and straight. I know I have one more piece here that's sort of questionable, so we'll do another one. Now I wanted this piece to be very organic, right? And, well, as much as I say that, I didn't use the reticulated pieces of wire. I know. I only have a certain level to organic. It's never 100%. That said, I do have pieces of square wire in here. Don't know if you can tell the difference, but we have square wire going on. And I'm just going to, put it in there. So something we didn't really discuss last week, or I touched base on it, and I meant to do a better job of it, but did not. So I'm going to talk about it this week. Was about how you determine the length of your ring shank. Well, there's a chart out there that you can use, and that's how I was able to more easily get to my size on this ring shank, right? So I'll show you here, if you would follow along. If you go to the Q Fom Gray website, you will see under more stuff, blogs. By the way, this is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm assuming that you can see what I'm trying to show you. Go to My 2 Cents, and then go down, you'll see charts. I have a tendency to just throw a bunch of things into this section of my website because I have no other place to put it because I can't think of any other place to put things. Anyway, so here you'll see wire conversion, ring size chart. That's what we're going to do. Jump ring size chart. What else do we have in here? Saw blades. Yeah. And in saw blades, what else do we have? Saw blade. Oh, yeah, your piercing sizes, blah, blah, blah. Your gauge sizes. Okay. So that said, let's go back up to the ring size chart. So here, what you'll see is the ring size chart, and I'm going to go for a 7. So you want to look for the circumference of the ring, and this is the circumference, so it's 2.14. I'm going to go ahead and go to 2.25, so 2 1/4, and that's going to be the length of your wire. Or your ring shank. Understand that if you're using this for your ring shank, if you have a thicker ring shank, you're going to have to add that to your length, right? If it's thicker. All right, that said, that's where we are. Okay, and put that back up there. So it's 2.25 is what we're doing. And so we're pretty darn close. And I'm just going to use my, I'm going to use my ruler as a straight edge here. And start placing my wires. Fairly haphazardly, not getting too crazy here. There we are, with making it perfect. I know, it's really hard for me to not make this, so organic, right? But everything's got to touch at some point to each other. And I've already gone ahead and pickled my wire, figuring that, some of these were tormented, remember, because it's scrap, and some of these were straight up. And this one needs a cut. So even these little cuts here that I'm doing, I'm saving them right back into the scrap pile, because again, you can cast with it. Okay. So are the wires all the same gauge is a question. The answer is no. So I've got 14 gauge here. Well, okay, let's put it this way. I'm keeping it between like 14 and 18 gauge. I didn't want to go really thin. Okay, so they're not the same. And again, I have some square wire. I have some round wire. So maybe like that. Let's give it another measurement. Make sure I have enough from end to end. I have more than enough. So my theory is that one side, the bottom will be longer. So really this should be different. And then the other side, like the bottom will be longer and the top will be longer, so I'm hoping that they lock in like this. Notice how I said that. Hope is the key. Okay. Go there. We'll go there. All right. Try to straighten that out again. Okay, so how am I going to get all these soldered on? So I'm choosing not to do my typical solder paste because I feel like it's going to be too much of a mess. I'm actually going to go ahead and see if I can stick solder this. I know. I'm asking for it because these things are going to roll everywhere. I have this feeling. But let's see, maybe I should pin it down a little bit and keep it in place. We'll throw some pins in there. And hopefully that will help keep it all together. Like so. Okay, one more here because that one feels like it wants a little help. Can you hear Titus back there? He's crying. So the question is, what kind of pins am I using? So this is part of the honeycomb solder block set. And these are steel pins that go into the honeycomb that keeps it all together. Okay, we'll see. So now let's go ahead and give it a little bit of heat. Nothing on it yet. And then I'm going to put a bunch of flux on here. And we're going to flux this a little bit. I'm sorry, we're going to heat this a little bit. The flux sort of brings everything together. I'm going to cut a little bit of wire solder. Just drop my wire solder. And let's pull out our, yep, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch it as I'm heating it to get the solder to stick. And I'm hoping that the other side looks better than this side because this is going to be the inside, I hope. So we'll go ahead and heat the whole thing. And notice I'm bringing my solder wire close, but not quite touching yet. And as I'm heating it, I'm going to touch it. There's some. Okay, maybe not so smart. I don't do soldering like this very often. I'm not going to be very good at it. Ah! Did you see that? The solder picked it up. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to move the solder around a little bit. Help it out. I'm asking it to go where I want it to go to get the pieces to come together. So I'm just touching it where it's hot at every location that I need them to come together. Ran out of solder and I dropped the rest of it. And cut some more. I know, I have way too much solder on here, but I'm going with it. Because I'm going to bend the heck out of this thing. Okay. So when the block starts crystallizing, you know it's hot enough to get your solder in there. One more little bit up there, there it is. So I'm just looking to make sure that all these pieces have a good amount of solder between them and that they're going to connect all the way across somehow. There has to be a bridge there. So like right there, there's not much of a bridge. So I'm pushing it together while the solder is softened or soft. There we go. Okay. Woo! It's hot, hot, hot. This ought to be interesting. This is reminding me of Sully Girardi's project for virtual overcrafting called Icy. Sort of looks like it, huh? Okay. So it seems pretty solid. All right, we'll throw this in the pickle for a minute. We'll pull out a ring mandrel. Okay. And a leather mallet. This might be easier than I thought it was going to be. It's, you know, it's a little fussy when you're working with tiny little pieces like this, but for me, well, you guys know, I like my fussy little pieces. Always have. All right, so what's going to be interesting are gaps like this right here. When you bend it, I know it's going to want to pucker. So we'll try to be careful with it. And I guess this whole thing would have been a lot easier and nicer if you created a frame on the outside, maybe a piece of 16 gauge square wire, and made one big piece here and one big piece here. But what fun is that? We're using scrap. Oh, scary. It's gonna break. Is it gonna break? So I started small, as I always do, and I start working everything around. So you see, it did pucker, as I expected, but let's see if we can fix that. There we go. All right. Wow. We're pretty close. What size we got? Okay, so here, notice it's all the way down to 7.5. It's too big, and I have puckering, which means it's still too big. So I'm going to push it back up to about a 6 and see if I can get that to happen. This here doesn't want to play nice, so I'm going to go ahead and anneal it again. And see if I can get that to bend a little bit nicer. Nice quench. So see, someone else agrees with me. It looks a lot like Sully Girardi's Icy design. And apparently Sully Girardi is watching and she's agreeing. It might be easier even. I don't know. Just saying. Just saying. I'm not going to say it's better. I'm just saying it might be easier. I don't know. I haven't done the other project yet. But the other project's metal clay. Hey, you know, Sully, this might be the next cousin's project. Okay. Really struggling here to get this down. And shaped. All right, so what am I gonna do to get this to shape? Let's see. Maybe. No, this is too big. So what if we do the ring closing, or the bow closing, and see if we can force this into shape a little bit. So these are bow closing pliers. Oops, that's not gonna work. Q, think. There we go. There we go. There we are. Okay. So you see what I was trying to do to bridge this together? Maybe. But I'm going to check for size first. That's close. It's going to be a little too small. But I might just leave it there. Okay, so I know I have some space here. You can see that. So even though it's sitting at like 5 3/4, okay, I'm going to leave it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see about fixing this and maybe soldering a piece here to bridge it. This is just me figuring out how to work through this mess that I have sort of created. The soldering of it is not going to be fun, but so here I'm going to cut this because it doesn't want to fit. Hold on. Oy. Why don't you want to go? Oh, there you are. It didn't want to fit in that space, but I'm thinking it might just fit here. Can you see that? And that we would just solder that together to bring it together. And I'm not so worried about shape right now. I'm much more worried about the size and getting this to come together. Okay, so that's not straight. There we go. Okay, and if you see, it's sort of off. Let's get in a little tighter. You see, one's higher than the other. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze them together just so that they're level. Oh, these wires are hard. Who knew? But you can totally understand how I'm trying to get this to fit together. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Again, I'm just fidgeting with the piece. I'm going to kneel this one more time. Okay, let's go ahead and pickle that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and solder a couple more pieces in between that gap. If you notice, it's a little thin there, right? That's where it's going to get a little interesting. Yeah. Can't wait to see how I'm going to do that, huh? Me neither. Ooh, pickle's nice and hot. That happened really nice and quickly. Okay, there we are. All right, so we're going to need a piece to go here and on top. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down like this and just bridge it across. Okay. luckily I have a couple of pieces here. Let's see. A couple of small pieces would be nice. Please fit, please fit. Sort of fits. Yep. We'll cut that a little bit smaller, make our lives a little bit easier. And I'm using a flush cutter. It gives me a nice flush bend. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to put it right in here into my bow closing pliers. And I'm going to put a bend in this wire real quick. Let's see if that works. Again, also theoretical, right? How can we make this happen easily is the question with the tools that we have. I mean, we're making a project with, maybe that's not going to happen. We're making a project with the materials that we have. Can we make a project with the tools that we have? Of course. That's not going to work. Okay. So I'm going to take 2 pairs of pliers out, and we're going to just put a bend in it. Just a slight bend, just like that. Yep, that'll be better. And now I'm going to go to paste. Paste would be my friend here. All right, put some paste on there. And let's bridge that. We'll solder that on, just right on top. There we go. See, so we're starting to close up that gap a little bit. All right, let's pickle that. Let's find another piece. Actually, maybe let's do this one. Again, I'm going to put a little bend in it. It'll help. Okay. There we go. Let's see. So I'm going to put another piece here. And I'm going to do it again with medium solder. And I'm using paste. It just makes my life a little bit easier. Okay, make sure I have solder on both pieces. Stop. Hand's a little shaky today. Not enough lunch. What's happened? Okay, I can tell you right now that piece didn't solder. I'm going to put a little bit more solder and then reheat that right now while it's still nice and warm. If I can remember where the heck I just put that piece. What the heck? Did it fall off? It fell off, didn't it? Ah! Wait. Oh. I turned it upside down. I got lost. Okay. There we go. Why am I touching it? There you go. Because I want to move it just a little bit into place. Better than what it was. So now we've got a great joint there. It's starting to look a little bit better. Okay. Ooh, a little warm. All right. It's sort of interesting. It's not great. But let's make it into a ring. See, so it's starting to shape more and more. And I'm flipping it back and forth and making sure that both sides of the ring are really nice and round. And I'm going for the bottom half of the ring. Like so. And I'm just working it. It's just about there. I'm going to throw it in the pickle. You know, sometimes you do want to make sure that you're cleaning it just because the shadows and the fire scaling sort of creates an optical illusion, and you don't, you know, you want to try and make it easy for yourself, right? So I hope you guys had a nice weekend. I had a whirlwind of a weekend. Went to Milwaukee this weekend. Oh my God. Went up there just for a wedding and turned it right back around. Well, what made it interesting is when leaving for the airport, 6 minutes into the drive to the airport, I discovered that I didn't have my phone, which means I didn't have credit cards with me because my credit card's with my phone. That said, we turned around, then we raced back out to the airport. Halfway there, I got a text. My flight was canceled until 5 o'clock, which meant I was going to miss the wedding. Yeah. There was a cluster of hundreds of people whose flights had been canceled when I got to the airport. Well, long story short, found another flight and off I went. We'll be making a call to Southwest today, trying to get our money back for the canceled flights. We'll see. Okay, so again, putting it back in and just trying to round this out a little bit. So the challenge here, really, as I'm working through this, the challenge is definitely in those weak spots where it just sort of bent a little too much. Okay, because it was a weak spot. All right, we'll polish this up. Oh yeah, it's really rounding up now. So you can see from this side, see, it's pretty round. Oh, one. There. And, you know, I think I'm going to put, do I want to put one more piece in here? I don't know. We're just going to go with this. All right, so let's polish this up. Let's see what happens. So this piece would look great, I think, with a little bit of patina. I think would work out very well. All right, let's hold on for me for a second. I'm gonna go get some patina. You can use liver sulfur, of course. But on silver, I like to use Black Max, which is a hydrochloric acid. And you get this from Rio. But remember, anytime you use this, you want to make sure that you rinse it in some water. So I'm rinsing it in water now. The puppy saw me. Can you hear him? Uh-oh. I know. Shh. Okay. Hold on. Okay, say hi to everybody. Hi, Titus. Hi. Okay, you can stay. We're just about done anyway, so we're just gonna finish this up. Yep, that's right. We're just gonna finish this up. Sooner or later, he's gonna be a studio dog, right? Check it out. Ah! So there was a suggestion out there from Janet who said maybe make a granule out of the scrap and put it in the space. And yes, I had thought about doing that too. So maybe, I don't know, we'll see next week what I do with another scrap piece, or maybe we'll just continue doing this one. But as you can see, it's coming together nicely. Now, the one thing I did not do for sure, just because honestly I was being lazy, right, is I didn't sand or file any of the ends here. And I can feel that they're sharp. So honestly, what I would do is I would go ahead and put this into a tumbler, and it'll burnish all those ends. I mean, really, it'll take off a lot of the sharpness. It'll make it really nice and shiny too, but that would be really helpful. Now, if you really did want to do this, and I would sit here and sand it, definitely, if it was a for reals project. But considering I'm making a sample just for fun, it's just to make a point to show you guys what you can do with your scrap metal, right? But I do like it patinaed. It does make a lot of sense here. Okay, so there it is. That's a scrap ring of your scrap wire. Okay, baby. All right, so that's it for me today. If you have any questions, do reach out and let me know if I haven't answered your questions yet. And let's see, anybody got puppy advice? We're on, oh my gosh, 2.5 days with no accidents, and we're pretty excited about that. What else is going on Wednesday? I'm going to start a new UFO project. Really excited about that. It's going to be a big, wide ring with a gemstone in it, so it'll be great. And then on Friday, we have a Zoom along. So we'll see you then, and we'll be back. And then next week, oh my gosh, is, Virtually Ever Crafting. So if you haven't registered for your classes yet, do register soon if you want a kit. If not, you can still definitely register for Zoom onlys, or you'll have the recording for a couple weeks and you can follow along then once you get your kit. All right, that's it. That's all for me today. Thank you everyone for swinging in, and hopefully this is going to publish somewhere on Twitch sooner or later. I don't know what happened, but you'll probably see a test from me later today, so don't tune in. I'm going to be testing it, make sure nothing's up with the whole Twitch thing. All right, that said, have a great rest of the week. We'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks for coming along and liking and